Hi everyone, Happy New Year.
Hello everyone and Happy New Year to you all.
Piet and Grade here from the Purple House in Forth, Tasmania, from the Purple House Wellness Center. And we thought tonight we'll talk about this list that we created for you, and it's you'll find it on our Facebook page. It's a very, very good list with acts of self-love, I call them. So it's very easy to help you have a really good year. And if you maybe print this list out like I've done and stick it next to your bed, I promise you, you are going to have a really good year. It's a recipe for success and created by our daughter Mika, who does a lot of work for us behind the scenes. So I just want to say thank you, Mika, for doing an awesome job. And we had a little bit of a discussion about some of them.
Having less of some things and more of other things.
Yeah, because when you have less of something, that's going to create space for you to have more of something else that needs to be filled up with something different than what you have been doing before. So we're going to choose some of these acts of self-love each. So Peter, you start with one.
Well, I'll start with the first one, which is less carbs and more good fats, because good fats give us a lot more energy throughout the day. We get 10 times the amount of energy from one molecule of fat than we do from one molecule of sugar, and the energy source in fats is really good for the little energy centers in our cells. The energy that we get from sugars, and particularly fruit and high starch carbohydrates, clog up the little energy centers so they can't make energy properly, and we don't know what's happening. But
well, do you have a story, by the way, to illustrate this or not? Yeah, I have one. I'll butt in. Because stories are good, because you can relate to it. So Peter started to increase a lot more fat, and for a while there he was eating a packet of butter a day. This is going back a few years.
About 6 years ago.
Yeah, when we discovered how good healthy fats are, that's butter and coconut oil and meat fats and stuff like that, and Peter loves butter. So for a while he had nearly a packet of butter a day, and he lost 8 kilos. And
over a 6-month period, I lost that amount of weight, not realising I had weight to lose. And I was eating
healthy before
very minimal, really. Throughout the day, I was having probably 3 double handfuls of food throughout the day, and a lot of it was fat, and that's all I ate. And I had all the energy under the sun from the good fats.
And you still do, because that's 6 years ago, and you have heaps of energy. So do I, by the way. So Pete and I actually find that over the years we're eating less and less, but whatever we eat we really enjoy, and we don't feel very hungry, by the way, which helps as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And yesterday Pete decided to get our push bikes out of the shed, and I don't like doing physical exercise very much.
We hadn't had them out for a couple of years, really.
Anyway, so we went for an hour's bike ride, and today I don't even feel sore, because it's the carbohydrates that cause muscle aches and pains, and I wasn't puffed or anything, and I actually really enjoyed it. So I'm going to do that more often. So that actually comes into more exercising, and it's less Netflix.
Less vegging out on Netflix.
But I do love Netflix occasionally as well. But if you find you are watching Netflix every night and you need a glass of wine, that actually means you're masking a low-lying depression. So I've moved on to the next subject now, which is Netflix, a little bit less Netflix and a little bit more exercise.
And also the aches and pains that we didn't get from that bike ride is also less calcium and more magnesium.
Oh yeah, so that's on the list as well. So don't supplement with calcium, whatever you do.
Free-floating calcium creates a lot of aches and pains in the muscles and the tissues and the joints, and we recommend people have a little pinch of borax with that extra magnesium to get the calcium into your bones. So it prevents osteoporosis and osteoarthritis.
Yeah.
And
so if you have been told your bones are getting too weak or your skeleton or you're getting old, make sure you don't buy into the myth that you need to supplement with calcium, because actually the aging process is simply that you calcify and that calcium is leaving your bones and it goes into the soft tissue. So it's more to do with the misplacement of calcium. And the way to correct that is to absolutely avoid calcium intake or supplementation, and focus on getting lots of magnesium into your body as well as boron, and that will do the trick for you. All right, which actually worries me so that everyone buys into the calcium myth, as well as those are the osteoporosis drugs that are highly toxic to the body and completely...
They cause bone rot
That's right.
good bones.
So don't buy into any of those lies. And also, I want to talk about worry. So less worrying and more contentment. So, do you want to let me talk and you don't interrupt? You look at it. I'm feeling a bit edgy. I'm worried Peter's going to interrupt my flow because I have to really think about this. All right, so when people say to you, stop worrying, right? Stop worrying about that. Does that actually help? It doesn't really, because then you worry on top of that you can't stop worrying, that you're always worrying and it makes you feel bad. So one thing that works well for me is to focus on what gives me contentment. I actually had to do that for a number of years. So contentment is a precursor. Contentment is a precursor to happiness. So for a lot of people, people will say to you, just be happy. Well, that doesn't work either. But you can focus on contentment. So what I used to do was I would open up pockets in the day, like 20-minute time slots that were just for me, like no distractions. I still do that, by the way. And I sit down somewhere with a magazine or an article or a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and it's just me and myself. And I practice getting in tune with that level of satisfaction and contentment. So moments of contentment, and then I really anchor that in. So that means it's not just happening in here, I feel that in my body. And it's something that everyone can do, by the way. And the more you do it, the more you develop those neural pathways in your body. And before you know it, it's actually really easy for you to feel happy and less worrying. The other thing you can do to stop worrying is to do the tapping. So like tapping is like this, like just tap on the stress points while you think about the things that worry you. So like, even though I worry about Peter, even though I worry about whatever, Peter repairing the plumbing, I deeply and completely love and respect myself. So that's called EFT, capital E, capital F, capital
Emotional
T.
freedom technique.
And you can Google that. It's like, find it everywhere online for free. It's a beautiful resource, and I recommend everyone to do that at different times. So that's less worry and then more contentment and happiness. And okay, what are you going to talk about?
Less stress and more solutions.
Okay.
So stress and worry are probably fairly similar, but if we often think of the things that are going wrong, and rather than looking for solutions, we can think of them as lessons and think of possibilities rather than be stressed out about things not working properly. And
I think that will be a really good one for you, Peter. Are you going to promise me to do that?
Well,
see stressful situations as an opportunity for growth. That's really what you want to say. Yeah. So solutions.
And another add-on to what Grada was just talking about, Grada and I are jotting down in a little notebook 5 things that we're grateful for at the end of the day. And that really gets, gratitude is one thing that'll lead to contentment and happiness as well.
An attitude of gratitude solves everything.
So, and there's heaps and heaps of things that we can be grateful for.
When you focus on it.
Yeah, and we often focus on the things we haven't achieved or haven't done and whatever, and get all stressed out about it. But if we...
Yeah, there is a message here. Can I interrupt? Sorry, I'm good at interrupting. So for me, less interrupting, more listening. Eh? But here's a lady, Cheryl. What about people who have bone injection? My husband has been led to take a calcium tablet. I supplement it with K2. Is that okay? No, not really.
The bone injection is one of the ones that they give for osteoporosis. It stops the dead bone cells being gobbled up by the macrophages, and so you can't replace that old bone cell with a new one. So it creates dead bone rather than nice living bone.
Yeah.
Dentists hate it. If you ask your dentist, they'll really...
They won't even do your teeth if you're on any calcium or bone strengthening supplements. You can download a free osteoporosis book. I'll put a link in below that we wrote. Yeah, this is what Pete and I believe, though. So I'm speaking from what we have seen in our clinic, working with, tens of thousands of people over the years, what works and what doesn't work. And by the way, those tablets also often cause cancer because they're really bad for your stomach and other things. So I hope I haven't scared you, but just do some research, okay? And you can come for a biomedic session with Peter if you want to find out what works, and Peter will explain it all to you and give you the right supplements, and also do a course correction with your diet and stuff like that. Yeah. All right, so calcium causes premature aging. I just want to say that because we had a question. Calcium supplementation causes hardening of your brain, kidney stones, heel spurs, spurs on your spine. It just really upsets the apple cart everywhere. And what you really need is magnesium and a pinch of boron every day. And then make sure your gut health is good, of course. So what about, oh yeah, you choose the next one.
Guilt and peace.
What are you going to say about that, Peter?
Our New Year's Eve, I set up a fire pot on the deck and had quite a few chairs sitting around, and I sent a message to all our kids whether they wanted to come, and I showed them on the message a video of the empty chairs and the fire pot going, and two of them started to feel guilty because they weren't coming. But they said, this is 2020 is the year when they're going to kick guilt out the door.
Yeah, so that's good.
That's good because guilt is one of the lowest vibrations that you can your cells vibrate at. It causes illness, and we don't need to be guilty about anything, because if we are really focused on what we want, what's good for us, and be authentic and true to ourselves, then we'll have good boundaries. We won't need to feel guilty about saying no to if we don't want to go somewhere or be with someone, and we just need to be true to ourselves and authentic.
Yeah, so...
And that'll bring peace.
Also, you can do the opposite, of course, because like if you're not feeling very peaceful in your body, then you need to quickly check in with yourself, well, what's blocking my peace? And it's usually a actually feeling of anger somewhere that you're not connected with. So do a little bit of anger work, like screaming a pillow, and then you feel peaceful again. Or maybe you have guilt issues in your tissues. So it's not as simple as that a lot of the time, because guilt, we're often so used to having guilt in our body that we don't recognize it anymore. But instead of that, we might be feeling tired all the time, or lack of motivation, or procrastination. And then if you really, really do some self-examination, you realize, I feel guilty, and you actually don't even know what you feel guilty about. So then again, you can do some EFT, like some tapping, emotional freedom technique, or you write, say, several pages. You just write about it, like Grada says, you pick up a pen and paper, and you just say, I have to write about my guilt. Is it possible that I have guilt in my tissues? And then you just start writing, and then by the time you have written 3 pages, you usually have hit what do you call it, the bullseye. There is something there that suddenly becomes very clear to you, and then you write a little bit more, then it's gone. So I do want to say it's really important that you get rid of guilt from your tissues. It usually hides in your lungs, and it causes asthma and coughing and sometimes cancer, and it hides in your large intestine as well. Can cause like bowel issues or irritable bowel. So guilt has absolutely no use in your body, unless you, of course, robbed the bank or killed somebody, and then guilt is there to tell you to rectify that situation, and after that you have to let it go. So can I talk about... We nearly finished, actually. I've taken up the whole time. Can you talk... well, I'll talk about toxic positivity, because people don't know what that means. Less toxic positivity and more understanding. So I have a client, and he comes to me, and his wife always says to him, don't talk like that because you're so toxic and that's so negative and da-da-da. But he's actually just wanting to talk about his day, and he wants to talk the truth about his day, which, by the way, some days are stressful. And then she says, I don't want to hear it because that's not positive. And that's creating a lot of misunderstanding, and he's feeling very, very isolated. So toxic positivity simply means that you're not being honest about the situation, especially to yourself, right? So you go like, oh, everything is okay. Actually...
If you ask people and they say, I'm fine.
Well, actually, it's
usually
just,
not the case.
Just put it aside and stretch your heart a little bit. It's usually fear-based, by the way, because we think, I have to be positive all the time, otherwise I'm attracting stressful situations into my life. But it's not true, because you're building up tension in your body. So it's more important to be honest with yourself and just label it what it is, and then love it as well, and understand yourself. This is in particular to do with your own relationship to yourself, because if I'm comfortable with everything that I feel, then Peter will be comfortable with that too, right? And I'm comfortable with whatever Peter wants to say to me. Okay, because actually just a little example springs to mind. When we got broken into a few months ago, and I said to myself, I actually said it to Peter, it could have been a lot worse, they could have stolen heaps more, and it's fine, and we fixed it and all the rest, and then pretended it didn't happen, almost, I guess. But all day long, my body wasn't so positive about it, because I felt fear in my body, and I was burping all day long, so it stopped my digestion. So that night I had to sit down with my body in my bedroom and listen to what it had to say, feel my fears, feel not so happy about it, and understand my body better, and then I was fine the next day. So yeah. All right, well.
Less sugar, more Himalayan salt, less antibiotics, more probiotics. So if you have probiotics or fermented foods, then you build up your immune system so you won't need antibiotics. There's lots that...
Antibiotics save your life, so they can save your life, right? and they do save many lives, but they don't create health. So you need probiotics for health, and fermented foods are some of the best. Peter and I were talking about it this morning. We have a big tablespoon of Love Your Guts fermented food every day. And the benefit of that is that it also pulls out heavy metal toxicity from your body, like it literally pulls it out of your tissues and it ends up in the toilet. So that's important as well. And sugar and salt, I wanted to say, can I, or you?
Yeah.
Like when you crave lollies or sugar, like you feel like you want to go on a sugar binge suddenly, you can cut that impulse off by putting some salt on your tongue, because actually your body is looking for minerals. It wants, but you're getting the message all confused. So always have a salt pot with Himalayan salt on your bench, stick your finger in and lick it. Put a bit more on your tongue, and then
followed by a glass of water.
And then most of the time your sugar craving is gone, right? So that's a really, really good way to cut through that.
Because often hunger, which can be a sugar craving, can be thirst.
Most of the time it is actually thirst.
So water will get rid of it as well.
Yeah. So, and soda and water, what do you want to say about that? Less soda, more water.
Soft drinks, more water. Because soft drinks don't really hydrate us. And
well, they're toxic.
One molecule of sugar will displace 50 molecules of magnesium, so you'll start getting cramps and things like that.
So we're running out of time. So I'm not feeling stressed, but I am feeling urgency. So there's one, less toxic friendships and more self-love. So self-love is actually a doing thing, okay? It's like an action thing most of the time. It's something we all need to learn again, because we haven't learned that. We've forgotten how to do that. And so how we often do self-love is when we have a negative emotion, okay, I'll just quickly say, I love myself for feeling stressed. I love myself for feeling hungry. I love myself for feeling interrupted or whatever all day long. I catch myself doing it, and then I'll shower it with a little bit of self-love. But so toxic friendships, I just want to tell you an interesting story of one of my clients who's been really unwell with cancer, but she's actually doing really well now. And she found that her cancer put a lot of strain on her friendship. So she was always a very loving, fun-loving, social animal with lots of friends. You know, one of those heartfelt, connecting people. But when she got cancer, she actually realized a lot of her friendships weren't working for her anymore, and she was really confused about that and probably trying to cling to the old friendships. But anyway, after a few sessions with me, she realized that self-love is a beautiful place to spend time with yourself and
she doesn't need the friendships
Right.
anymore.
She just had to come into alignment, so she needed a few sessions with me to come home to herself, feel at peace, feel that she now feels she's her own best friend, and she actually only has about 4 really, really good friends left, and she's really enjoying her life, like enjoying absolute quality of life, and without feeling pressured or toxic positivity or toxic friendships. You know, that just simply means you can't be yourself and you overexert yourself, and they're friendships that don't nurture your hearts. So I hope you enjoyed it. Actually, how about, I thought today, please put some of your own on there and we can expand on this list. Like less of what do you know that you want to have less of, so you can have more of something else. I'm really, really interested to hear what you want for yourself.
Put them in the comments.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
We can share them with everyone.
And then I can make this list a bit better and things that we haven't seen. So I thought of one today, but I can't remember it now what it was that I wanted to do. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, and please let us know if you have any more questions or concerns about stuff we talked about tonight, or if you want to book in for a session. We're open again Monday the 6th. Download our free ebooks. There are lots of free ebooks, so you can read them first, and then you already get a good grip on, you feel empowered. And I hope, well, Pete and I, we hope to look after you even better this year with more connection, with more, what was I going to say? With more connection, understanding, love, peace, and helping you to feel more empowered, and to help you connect with your inner core, like your inner wisdom, so you can heal yourself. That's what we want for you. So
we hope everyone will have a really great 2020.
Yeah.
Start of a new decade.
And stay tuned. And if there's anything else you want us to talk about, put it in the comment box as well. Thanks for tuning in. And see you all next Thursday night at 8 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Oh, sorry, 7 o'clock. Hello, Corinne. You're in winter there. It's nice and summery here, by the way. And Cheryl, if you have more questions, please come and talk to us. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.